Hey everyone, and welcome back to Controller Culture. Today, we're taking a look at 10 of the biggest video game releases coming out next month. May is shaping up to be a seriously stacked month with a mix of major AAA heavy hitters, long-awaited sequels, some surprising revivals, and a few unique indie-style projects that could easily steal the spotlight. So, if you're trying to figure out what games might be worth keeping an eye on next month, here are 10 of the biggest releases arriving in May. First up, we have Mixtape, which is arriving early in the month and already has a lot of people interested purely because of its vibe. This is a narrative-driven adventure game focused on a group of friends during one final night together before they go their separate ways. The entire experience is built around memories, music, and coming-of-age moments. What makes Mixtape stand out is how it blends gameplay with music. Each segment of the game is tied to a licensed soundtrack, and the gameplay constantly shifts depending on the memory you're reliving, whether it's skateboarding, exploring, or just hanging out. It's one of those games that's less about challenge and more about feeling something. And if it lands emotionally, this could easily become one of those sleeper hits people don't stop talking about. Next up is Call of the Elder Gods, which leans heavily into cosmic horror and narrative exploration. This game is essentially a spiritual successor to story-driven mystery adventures, but with a much darker twist. You're investigating strange events tied to ancient otherworldly entities, and the deeper you go, the more reality itself starts to unravel. Gameplay focuses on exploration, puzzle solving, and uncovering clues, but the real emphasis is on atmosphere and psychological tension. If you're into slow burn horror and games that mess with your perception of reality, this is definitely one to keep an eye on. Now we get into one of the biggest releases of the month and my personal favorite that I'm looking forward to, Forza Horizon 6. The Horizon series has consistently been one of the best arcade racing franchises out there, and this new entry is looking to push things even further. As always, the focus is on a massive open-world map, a huge roster of cars, and that signature festival-style atmosphere. But this time around, there's a stronger emphasis on evolving events, dynamic environments, and more social features. Each Horizon game tends to refine rather than reinvent the formula, but the bar is already so high that even small improvements can make a huge difference. For racing fans, this is easily one of the biggest games of the year. Next we have Starbytes, which is a much more stylized and creative project. This is an action RPG set in a colorful sci-fi universe where food, planets, and creatures all blend together into one really unique aesthetic. The gameplay mixes real-time combat with exploration and progression systems, and there's a strong focus on customization and building your character. It's the kind of game that stands out immediately because of its art direction, and if the gameplay matches that creativity, this could end up being one of the more memorable releases this month. Also releasing on May 21 is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. This is a brand new platforming adventure built specifically for the Switch 2, and it looks like it's continuing the more creative, handcrafted style that recent Yoshi games have leaned into. The twist here is that the game takes place inside a magical book, with each level representing a different story or world. That opens up the door for a lot of variety in level design, mechanics, and visual themes. Yoshi games are usually more relaxed compared to other platformers, but they're also known for being incredibly polished and creative. So, if you're looking for something more laid back but still high quality, this could be a standout. Now, this one is definitely unexpected. Bubsy 4D. Yes, Bubsy is back again, but this time, the developers are taking a much bigger swing by turning it into a 3D platformer with dimension-shifting mechanics. The idea is that you can move between different versions of the same level, altering the environment in real time to solve puzzles and progress. Bubsy, as a franchise, has had a quite complicated history, to say the least. But this feels like a genuine attempt to reinvent it into something more modern. Whether it actually works or not is a different question, but it's definitely one of the most interesting releases this month. Also on May 22, we have LEGO Batman: Legacy of the Dark Knight. This is a new entry in the LEGO Batman series, and it looks like it's pulling from multiple eras of Batman history, combining different versions of the character, villains, and locations into one big adventure. If you've played LEGO games before, you already know the formula: co-op gameplay, puzzle solving, combat, and a ton of collectibles. But what makes this one stand out is the scale. It's aiming to be more expansive, with larger environments and deeper references to Batman's history. For fans of LEGO games, or DC in general, this is a pretty easy recommendation. Next up is Lumentale: Memories of Trey, which leans more into the indie RPG space. This is a story-driven RPG with a strong focus on character relationships, emotional storytelling, and a stylized fantasy world. Gameplay combines exploration, turn-based combat, and narrative choices with an emphasis on how your decisions shape the story. Games like this tend to live or die by their writing, but if it delivers on that front, it could easily become a hidden gem. Also releasing on May 26 is Stonemarkia. This is a strategy and automation-focused game where you're essentially building and managing a growing mechanical civilization. The core gameplay revolves around resource management, production chains, and optimizing systems, very much in the same space as games like Factorio. It's definitely more niche compared to some of the other titles on this list. But for players who enjoy deep systems and optimization, this could be incredibly addictive. And finally, closing out the month, we have 007 First Light. This is a brand new James Bond game, and it's been getting a lot of attention because it's essentially a fresh take on the character. Instead of adapting a specific movie, this game tells an original story focusing on a younger Bond and his early days as a 00 agent. Gameplay is expected to combine stealth, action, and cinematic storytelling, with a strong emphasis on player choice and how you approach missions. It's been a long time since we've had a major James Bond game, and if this delivers, it could easily be one of the biggest surprises of the year. So those are 10 of the biggest video games releasing in May. This month is honestly stacked. You've got massive titles like Forza Horizon 6 or 007 First Light, alongside unique projects like Mixtape and Starbytes, and even some wildcard releases like Bubsy 4D. Now, I'm curious what all of you think. Which of these games are you actually planning to pick up next month? Is there anything on this list you've been waiting for, or maybe something you hadn't heard about before today? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Controller Culture so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you all in the next one.